it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. We're focusing in a little bit more in depth on the healing side of dealing with a malignant narcissist or a psychopath. I find that a lot of people are more excited by learning about the toxicity or diseases than they are focusing on themselves. Yet I find that it's very important for you to understand one of the key tools of healing, and that is to have a focus that's bigger than your problem, to have a solution that's bigger than the struggle at hand. I find that a lot of people who are in relationships with malignant narcissists and psychopathic individuals have been there for a repeated amount of time, a repeated amount of days, weeks, months, years, decades in relationship patterns, where they're constantly either trying to battle it out with this person, pacify this person, or they continue to attract violators and perpetrators. And it's because oftentimes there's a lack of awareness really of what is in your best interest. People are kind of blinded to their truth. They're blinded to their passion. They're blinded to their goals. They're blinded to their vision. They're blinded to their objective. They don't have a vision bigger than the problem at hand. They're focused in on the problem. And if you focus in on in the problem, the lack, the fear, you're going to get more fear. And this might take people a long time to really understand and resonate. So I would recommend, if you hear this, you might hear it for the first time today, but it might resonate with you more over time, especially as you look at this universal truth, because what you focus on grows. And if you continue to focus on the problem at hand, the struggle, then you're going to get more struggle. But if you focus on the solution, you will get more solutions. Your mind, your brain, your thought patterns, your emotions will begin to look for solutions. That's just how it works. Oftentimes we don't have an operating manual, or we're not given instruction on how to live the best life. At the hands of a narcissist or psychopath, it's how to be the best supply for them. It's not how to be your best. You're instructed on how to be your best to serve them, and not to live your purpose, not to live your destiny, not to live on the finer values, which is empowerment, self-belief, your passions, love, care for humanity, using your empathy, using your compassion in a productive manner. So it benefits you, it benefits the world at large. There are so many areas that you can focus on in life that will give you productivity, but you have to give yourself permission to have a goal, to have a vision, to have a solution bigger than your problem. And so you have to let go of the problem to focus on the solution. You have to get into a different mind space. You have to get into a different energy shift to be there. It's like being in a new pair of shoes, but it's like more so like being in a whole new bodysuit. Your body is resonating on the solution, not stuck in the problem. And to get there, you really need to have a vision that is bigger than your problem. You might be, involved really deep, emotional hurt, emotional wounds with this person. You might be in financial debt. You might be, tied to them physically. You might not be able to leave. You might be stuck in a workplace where, you're in a heavy psychopathic laden workplace, or malignant narcissist workplace where there's a lot of unethical behavior. It's running rampant. There's no strength-based situation. There's no truth-based situation. There's no strength and support for you, and you're basically being told or meant to feel like you're crazy, you're wrong, we're just going to waffle over you. And this can be very trying, and you can be stuck in the energy of struggle and despair, depression and anxiety, and living by fear. This is not a good place to be in. You have to realize that your vision and your goal for your life has to then be bigger than the fear that you are encountering. And oftentimes this involves really getting, away from it, taking that recovery date, even if it's a couple hours a week, and getting into a true solution-based focus and really following up on those goals immediately. So as soon as you take time to understand, what are my true goals? What do I truly care about? Or maybe it just begins with you defining, living in this fear is not for me. enough is enough. I don't want to live in this constant fight, battle, and fear-based situation with this person, this community, etc. I mean, for you, it can be, where you're living, where you're working, the town, the state, whatever it is, you might need to pick up and go. And if that is your solution, oftentimes, facing your fear and facing these big questions, facing these big challenges is what you need to do. And, if it's been swept under the rug for a long period of time, then getting up, those rivets that have been holding it down and keeping your defense mechanisms in place, they might be pretty tough. It might be really nailed down, what you have buried, your truth that you have been buried for so long. It might take, some ripping up the carpet. It might take unhinging, some nails. It might take putting on, a breathing mask so that you're not breathing in all the dust and the toxic fumes. You might need to really get in there in your life and get down to the nooks and crannies and say, you know what, I've been living this too long, and this is not me. This is not healthy. I'm not happy. I'm not fulfilled. This is what we call owning up to your truth. And this is what we call taking 100% responsibility for your emotional well-being, your health, and your happiness, and your fulfillment. If you've been in a pattern of being stuck and struggling, and it's been reinforced, or you haven't been able to see the light, you haven't been able to give yourself the courage and the permission to own the truth, to have your opinion, to have your voice, to have your vision, to have your goals, to have your I am, to have those positive feelings, then it's important to get there now. It's important to say, yes, the time is now. I'm now focusing on the great parts of life. I've always wanted to boat. I've always wanted to horseback ride. I've always wanted to build a house. I've always wanted to live in a different house. I've always wanted to have a garden. I've always wanted to exercise. I've always wanted to eat healthier. I've always wanted to make more money. I've always wanted to, develop myself professionally. Or I've always wanted to, to become a writer or a photojournalist or work in film or photography. These are some things that you can always, you might have always wanted to do that have been sort of buried underneath, that you need to kind of brush off. You literally need to get, the big, thick, coarse broom and get in there, get up the carpet that you have been bearing your truth under, get that big broom. There are tools. This can be done. You might need to do some heavy duty questioning of yourself and some heavy duty behavior, which means being decisive, making a decision, knowing what your vision is and keeping it in front of you daily, even if you have just that little bit of spark. As Einstein says, it's 1%, 99% inspiration, or 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. If you have that idea, you need to back it up. Oftentimes people, their dreams, are in, the blink of an eye. And they might say, you know what, I have always wanted to do that. But they don't give themselves the self-validation to follow up on their inspirations. They let it go. They let their dreams slide by. They don't write it down. They don't get an appointment book and start making, time to go and follow these up. That's why it's so important for you to have the recovery date and the recovery journal. And the recovery gift. So you are priming and solidifying your decisions, your goals, your validation, and you're getting them on track. You have a system in place to keep them in front of you, keep you inspired, keep you energized, keep you making decisions, keeping you on the path of commitment, keeping you followed up, keeping you connected with the people who can make those dreams happen and stay focused on the solution rather than the problem and the struggle. It's peace and harmony with you here today. I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.